Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I thought we'd revisit an upgrade that I did on my mini lathe about 2 years ago. Let's take a look at that. That's right, about 2 years ago I did the UpGrade Tailstock cam lock kit that I got from thelittlemachineshop.com. And what I thought we'd do is take a look at the instructions and go step by step. If you want to follow along using the instructions that came with the kit, you can download those from my website, glennnow.com. And you can find a link to my website in the description of this video. So let's get in this, starting with step one. Let's do that. With the instructions, they have an introduction to it. Tailstock cam lock kit. You disassemble your tailstock, drill one hole, and reassemble it with new parts. Sounds simple, don't it? Okay, next. The next thing you'll find on the instructions are the tailstock cam lock kit includes the following parts. Now that's really confusing because they tell you from left to right, and then they got it all clustered, 6 items all on top of each other. As you see in my instructions, I numbered them so they're clear what we're working with. Okay, next. All right, you will need the following tools: a 3/8 inch flat washer, approximately 1 inch in diameter, a fine felt tip pen, a 1/2 inch transfer punch. I had to make my own, I didn't have one. A center punch to enlarge that mark, a hammer, a number 2 or a number 3 center drill, a 1/8 inch, a 1/4 inch, a 3/8 inch, and a 1/2 inch drill bit, and a drill motor, and retaining ring pliers. Expect to take about an hour on this project. I think it takes a little bit longer, but I may just be slow. Okay, that was page 1. And as far as the tools go, I think instead of stepping up with the drill bits, I would prefer to do it holding it in a vise and drilling it in a drill press, or holding it in a vise and drilling it on a milling machine and going right to size. Anyway, page 2. A word to the wise. If you don't own retaining ring pliers, now is the time to get them. Installing and removing retaining rings takes seconds with the proper tool. Not in this case. It is a frustrating experience without. It's a frustrating experience with them. Let's move on. Okay, the first part of actually doing something. Tear down. Follow these procedures to remove your tailstock. Loosen the clamping nut and slide the tailstock off the end of your lathe. Remove the clamping foot from the tailstock. Okay, that's the simplest thing with this whole kit. Okay, next is drilling the tailstock. The cam lock requires 1 new hole in the tailstock casting. It is a clearance hole, so the location is not real critical. When they say not real critical, they mean maybe 5/10 thousandths in any direction. Any more than that, and I think I'll start binding. But what they tell you to do is place a 3/8 inch washer, flat washer, on top of the hole in the base of the tailstock. Center the washer on the hole and use a fine felt tip pen to draw around the sides of the washer. Number 2, using the markings made in step 1, center the cam lock sleeve sideways, I don't know what that means, over the hole in the base of the tailstock. Page 3. Number 3, with the 1/2 inch transfer punch, mark the back of the casting at the center of the hole through the cam lock sleeve. Of course I do that, I just don't center the sleeve up the same way. Number 4, remove the cam lock sleeve from the tailstock. Use a center punch to enlarge the mark on the back of the tailstock so you can start a hole at that location. Number 6, starting with a center drill and working up in size. This is where I deviate again. I don't particularly like to go from 1/4 to 3/8 to 1/2 inch. I don't like doing that. I deviate a little bit. I use the rib. Here, watch this. This is how I do it. This thing needs to be in line with this rib right here. That's where the hole's going through, right through the center of this. So they tell you to put a washer on here and mark the center of it. It's obvious that the thing is in the center of this rib. So I'll have to eyeball that and center punch it. All right, I believe it's centered. It made the ever so slight mark. I'm going to have to take another punch and put a better center punch in there. Found the center of that thing. All right, I have the spot punched with the center mark. They tell you to use a drill motor and keep sizing the drill larger and larger until you get up to a 1/2 inch hole in there. In my milling machine, probably put a spotting drill in there to pick that up then, and just go for a 1/2 inch drill through. Beautiful hole. Okay, reassemble. Following this procedure to reassemble your tailstock. I didn't do this exactly, but real close. 1, assemble the cam lock shaft, lever, and knob. First thing I have to do is put this handle on here. The lever, I should say. Number 2, put the cam lock shaft through the hole in the back of the tailstock with the handle on the back of the tailstock. Number 3, put a 1/2 inch external retaining ring on the cam lock shaft in the rear retaining ring groove. This is fun. Watch. First of all, I'm going to put a little bit of oil on this thing. Next thing that happens is I put the retaining ring on there. This is a pain in the ass. When you read the instructions, they tell you if you don't have snap ring pliers, it's time to get some. And from what I just experienced, even with the snap ring pliers, it isn't the easiest thing to do. Number 4, assemble the cam lock socket and cam lock sleeve. Page 5, number 5. Put the cam lock socket and cam lock sleeve assembly on the cam lock shaft. Rotate the cam lock shaft as you slide the socket and sleeve on. Number 6, put a 1/2-inch external retaining ring on the cam lock shaft in the front retaining ring groove. This one isn't as bad. Okay, one inside the other. Next is the other snap ring. Number 7, screw the clamping foot into the cam lock sleeve. Next is your clamping shoe. Number 8, put the tailstock back on the lathe and adjust the position of the clamping foot. Okay, I counted those revolutions so that when I have to take it off and put it back on, which I did a couple of times to change this 180 degrees. When I brought this down 1 revolution, it was too loose. When I brought it up a revolution, it was too tight. So they tell you, change this inner part 180 degrees. And I did that. And I counted those revolutions so I don't have to keep going through this over and over. Okay, let's see if it works this time. It does. Well, I guess I accomplished what I was setting out to do. If you're going to do this, get yourself some snap ring pliers. That was a real bitch, even with the snap ring pliers. Like I said, I had to take that off a couple of times off camera, and they really helped. All right, I hope you got yours together, following either the instructions step by step or the way I did it. I did vary a little bit, but either way will work. I think this video is coming to an end. So, until next time, enjoy.